bitches, every city in my tribe. Look behind. Booty dominate the world, peaches ripe.
Hello, good
Hello,
afternoon. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Welcome. What's your take?
Um, I mean, so I'm just gonna say like I don't I don't ever like to push my personal beliefs or opinions on anybody else because at the end of the day you can't really change anybody's standpoint on something unless you have an immense amount of proof, evidence, and theories or whatever.
Yeah,
But
unless you have good
all I'm gonna
arguments.
say,
Okay, I'm with you.
right. So I'm gonna say like for pro-choice. I mean, I've never just understood like I've understood certain circumstances where with like grape or other unforeseen events that happen where something would maybe fall in a category of like, okay, well, this is the only option, but I feel like I don't know if I could say the abortion, but
You can say abortion.
okay, yeah, I think abortion, I think it just gets just overly used for the wrong the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? Because like, okay, so let's say like I said with grape, obviously like
Why do
there's no
I need a good reason according to you?
because I'm gonna say this because I know a lot of people, right, that will not a lot of people, but I know certain people that have been in relationships and then they're quote unquote not ready. Like first of all, like once you get into the act of then you should already know what are the potential risks, side effects, results of said act. And obviously one of them is going to be the possibility of being pregnant. Now, sometimes
So why
those
do I have an obligation to sustain it?
because like I said, so like I'm trying to explain is like when people get into a relationship with each other, they love somebody and stuff, and like obviously they start to involve themselves in those types of acts. It's with intention, regardless of the notion that that is going to be the percentage of the result that comes about, which might likely be pregnancy. You still know that that's an option.
Well, it's
Like as a
actually not
human,
likely that it will be pregnancy. You have about a 5% chance of getting pregnant from intercourse.
okay, but that's what I'm saying. Is it's still on the list of options of something that is a result of said act. So
So why
no,
why do I have an obligation to sustain pregnancy?
because of one, there's contraception, there's abstinence, there's so many other things that people can do that would not result in said act, and then
About
preg-
51% of all abortions are due to failed contraceptives.
see, I would have to see that study to actually be able to like
That's
get.
from goopmocker.org.
Okay, well, I'll look that up later. But like I said, if that number is correct, right, then like
It is.
even still, okay, if
Do you
if
think I
if
debate
that
this without knowing statistics?
I don't know what people debate on.
But again, you really haven't answered my question. Just because I know there is a risk or a possible outcome of a scenario, like why do I have an obligation to sustain that pregnancy?
because what was because because is it always the choice of just being able to have that physical contact without having to bear the result of possible said pregnancy?
Well, yeah. Like I have a child. I have a child, and I've never had sex with the intention of getting pregnant. I would argue that a majority of humans have sex for psychological well-being as well as socialization, like emotional
See,
intimacy.
I'm not trying to dispute that at any way, shape, or form, miss. I'm saying knowingly, right? Unless you don't know the results or the effects of what you do with said act, then you're not going to know that you could become pregnant. I'm saying like most
I would
people,
argue a majority of people who are engaging in sex know that there is a possibility of pregnancy. Again,
right?
you
So
have
that's
not answered why they have an obligation to sustain pregnancy. Would you say that because I know there is a possibility I could get in a car accident, that if I get into a car accident, I should be denied health care?
should you be denied health care? See, I don't know if that matches what we're talking about. I don't think that
Well, it,
falls
it
in the
does. I
same.
knew there was a risk or an outcome of an action. I did the action anyway. Shouldn't I have to live with those consequences?
I'm saying like I'm saying okay, so to combat that with like my analogy, I'm saying like more so if you know that you're gonna have a surgery, but there's a said percent chance that you might not make it out of that surgery and you still do it and then you end up unalived, who's at fault there? Because some people
I
would
don't
claim
think
that
it's
it's
your
the doctor's
fault.
fault. Some
I
people
don't.
some people would say that it's the hospital's fault. Some people wouldn't put blame
Well,
on
I
that
think you're
person just
leaving
because
out a
they're
lot of
treated.
context there. Like, there could have been very much negligence and errors that the doctors made that resulted in that person's death. It could be the person's health, to where they just weren't healthy enough
But that's
to go through surgery.
that's all circumstantial regardless of
Right.
the
That's my
initial.
point. Is there's a lot of context. I don't think it has necessarily to come down to fault. But your premise is that you knew the consequences of your action. You did the action anyway. Therefore, you should live with the consequences. But I
Yes,
apply
ma'am.
that in a different area and you're not so sure anymore. So I don't think that your logic stands.
Because I don't think that the because I don't think the comparison of pregnancy is the same as you not like you being rejected healthcare. Like how does that equate? How
Because
does
you're
you
saying
having
because I
how
knew
does
there
you
was a
having to become
consequence to having sex, which is pregnancy, that I should be denied a certain level of health care, which is abortion.
that but that the healthcare part wouldn't be having to deal with the like that wouldn't have to deal with being pregnant. Like that healthcare part, that's after. I'm more saying like if you said if there's a
It is
possibility that you
your
get in a
let,
car,
let me let
if
me walk you through
the
this once because
possibility
I
of
don't
you
want to
getting in
spend
a
a lot
car,
of time on this because I think it's honestly a really weak argument. And I don't think you know the argument very well. You're saying that because you knew of a consequence or a risk and you took that said action, knowing that that was a possibility, you should have to live with the consequences. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
So, in a car accident, I knew that there was a risk or outcome that I could have an accident. That occurred. Should I have to live with those consequences of being injured and therefore being denied health care?
Um, see, and then you keep saying like denied healthcare. Like the fact that you get injured, yes, that is the result of getting in the car, which would
Right.
be the
Should I
same
have to
result
now
of
live
sex.
with a broken foot because I knew that was a possibility? Or should I have access to health care that can mend my broken foot?
I think you're just trying to add the healthcare as.
Abortion is health care.
I'm not talking about the abortion. I'm talking about the you said the car, getting in the car and then getting in an accident. That's what it is. The sex is
Correct.
getting in the
So
car,
getting in the
right?
car is
Hold on. The
having
sex is
sex. One
right.
second. Getting in the car is having sex. Getting in the car accident is getting pregnant.
Right.
So I have injuries related from that car accident. Can I remedy those? Remedy them by health care, just like I would remedy the pregnancy by abortion.
See, see this. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna because I get like I don't know. I just get kind of emotionally sidetracked because we are talking about like babies and stuff, and I feel like
And it's
people.
really not about concept. That's my whole point. You can say It's really not about someone has an obligation because they knew the consequence or risk. Because you really
What do
don't
you mean?
believe that.
If in a crime, if you commit a crime, are you not supposed to, do the time? And then so you're saying, well, if I
Sex a
do the
crime?
time, then you're
Is
saying
sex a crime?
no, no, no. I'm saying you're talking about the comparison of like, getting an abortion. So I'm saying, okay, if sex is a crime, right? Let's
Sex
say
is
a
not a
crime
crime.
equals. I'm saying crime equals sex, right? That's the comparison, and then you do that
Right,
crime,
but
which is
crime is not a.
right. I'm saying though, and then so then you're saying with the healthcare is that just because I did a crime, then I should be like you're automatically trying to equate that you should get acquitted or something because you did that crime because like it didn't.
Oh my God. No, not whatsoever. I'm saying that you don't have an obligation when it comes to foreseeable risks or
So you don't
outcomes.
think
That's
people?
what I'm saying. Just
So
because
you
you engage in sex and there's a foreseeable outcome of pregnancy, you do not have an obligation to sustain said pregnancy. That is my premise.
so we should just all be able to do stuff without consequences and stuff. That's
Well, I would
that's
argue
pretty
the
much what
abortion
it
is the
is.
consequence.
The abortion is the consequence. No,
Correct.
the
You had
abortion would be
sex, you
the
got pregnant.
removal.
The consequence is now you can either sustain that pregnancy or have an abortion. I'm saying that just because there was a foreseeable outcome means that you have an obligation to sustain pregnancy. You don't.
I don't know. I just think pro-choice is murder, to be honest. But
Why
yeah,
is it
we're gonna.
murder?
I mean, morally, I am that's my standpoint. Morally, is
I'm
if
asking you why. Like, expand on it. Like, I
you're
don't mind that you're pivoting. I really want to get off that because I don't know if you like really understand. Why is abortion murder?
I mean, I can't come to a conclusion that's gonna be universally accepted. I'm just saying that's a personal
So, wait, are
moral
you telling me you don't have an
opinion.
argument?
I'm saying morally that's my opinion is that pro-choice is murder. Can I prove that
Why?
with any evidence or
Why? Expand on that. Give some reasoning. Give some logic.
because that is life and you have just ended that life, which would be
Okay.
murder.
So, murder is defined as what?
Murder is defined as what? I mean, I don't. Do you want me to pull
Define
up the
murder.
dictionary definition?
Even just your own definition.
Uh, I mean, like, I don't know. I think we're just like going around in circles or whatever. Um,
We're not. You're just not answering questions and not providing reason. Let's not let's not paint the picture what it's not. Come on.
I mean, murder is. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? It's a
I want you
violent
to
act.
define a word you
It's a
used.
violent. It's a violent act that results in the death of, or the unexistence of a person or an animal or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
I see.
murder. It's
So it's self-defense murder.
no. See, there's a difference between murder and killing. To murder is
Well, it
to
just met all the criteria that you gave me for murder.
no, no, no. The murder and killing is different. That's why, like, in
What
the
is
Ten
different? What's
Commandments,
the delineation?
because one of them is with intent and one of them is with reason, or with one of them is without intent and one of them is with reason. If if I if I go to like hunting,
I could
hunting
argue
is not
abortion could be with reason.
And that's why that wasn't my argument earlier. That's why, see,
I'm
that's where
asking
we
you
line
how
up.
abortion qualifies for murder.
I told you earlier that something like there are certain specific events that happen, like grape
I
or
know you
a
did. I know
medical
you did. I'm just
condition
asking
or
you to
something.
explain to me how abortion qualifies as murder. Like, okay, I'll do a lot of the heavy lifting here. The difference between murder and killing is justification. Murder is unjustified killing, where killing can just be killing for justified reasons or ending someone's life. I don't think abortion is unjustified. You need to establish to me how it is unjustified.
Because just, I mean, I don't, that's why I said is I can say it's because of you knowingly having to accept the fact that that's a result of you getting into sexual acts with somebody. That's why. If look, if pregnancy wasn't a result of sex, then
So
we would
wait,
have a
so
whole
if
different
I have
argument.
an
What I'm saying is,
abortion, one second, if I have an abortion that is the result of someone raping me, is that murder?
like I said, me personally, I believe that it is murder regardless. I'm saying that I
Then
do,
why are you
in
making the
fact,
delineation? Why are you making the delineation that I had consensual sex? Because you don't care. You don't care if someone has consensual sex or if they were raped. To you, abortion is still murder. So tell me why it's unjustified.
because you know why? Because I know and have heard people, and I am friends with people that actually have been raped, sadly, and that they don't take it out on that child. They don't take that out as the result of the person that they were with and their
That doesn't
abuser.
answer my
That they
question. That does not answer my question. Tell me how abortion is unjustified.
Because I'm telling you, that's my personal moral opinion is that
Right, but
that's
if you
murder.
have these opinions, then I would think there's some reasoning, some logic to where it can withstand a little bit of questioning. And this is the problem. And honestly, I think the baseline of people who are
I
pro-life.
gave you,
One
I gave
second.
you an example.
You are
There's
saying that
two
I can't
positions where
understand pro-choice people. One second. You're saying I can't understand pro-choice people. It's because you don't understand. That's it. You
no, I'm
just
saying
haven't really thought about
in
this
two
issue.
different, no,
Because
two
one
different
second, stop
aspects.
talking. I don't know why you think it's your turn. Um, because you really haven't thought about it. You really haven't taken your own conclusions and asked, why do I think this? And come up with
Why do I
valid
think this?
reasons to
I
justify
just, I
subjugating
just
someone
told
to
you.
sustain pregnancy. Again, I don't know why you're talking.
I just told you why.
This is the difference between pro-life and pro-choice. Pro-choice is educated.
Pro pro choice is educated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the same scenario. Two people that you know same scenario. Person gets raped or whatever, has an abortion,
Wait.
justified.
No, I'm not going to let you weasel out of this. Tell me how abortion is unjustified. That is the one question you have to answer.
Because if like I s- because if it's unjustified, I said it's murder. That's
Right.
my moral belief.
Okay, wait. No. I don't know why we have to go over this again. The delineation between murder and killing is it's unjustified. So murder in itself is an unjustified killing. If you want to say abortion is murder, tell me how it's unjustified.
What is justifiable about removing life in any shape or form is my whole point.
I would say that the fetus or embryo does not have the right to use my body without my consent.
Doesn't have the right to so
Correct.
doesn't have the right to use your body without your consent.
Correct. I
Do
think it's very unethical of pro-lifers to say to force women to sustain pregnancy against their will, because against our will, it's torture. So I think the pro-life position is for torturing women and people with a capacity for pregnancy.
I mean I don't think that. I just think it's for the abundance of life. I don't think it has anything to do with like
At the
trying
expense
to
of torturing women.
I mean, sadly,
If
pregnancy.
I needed a kidney, do you think I have a right to take yours?
Do you have a right to take mine?
Yeah. Like if I needed a kidney in order to live, can I take yours without your consent?
No, absolutely not.
Then why does a pregnant person have the obligation to provide their uterus and body to sustain someone else's existence?
You asked me if you could take out my kidney. We're talking about
Or
life
even
being
take your
put.
blood, or even take your bone marrow. Do I have the
But
right to do that?
we're you're talking about you're talking about removing something from me. I'm talking about something that has been inserted into you, which is life, and
I
then
don't think there's any necessary delineate or there's any meaningful delineation you can make with that. Why do I not have the right to your body, but a fetus has the right to my body?
probably because of the whole like it's the whole the whole idea of a fetus is that it needs to have a host. It has to have a container of some sort, which is the womb.
Okay, again, why does it have a right to it? Wouldn't
Why
you
does it
want
have a
that to
right?
be a
Just like
consensual thing that the
just like
person who
your
is
blood,
pregnant
just like
consents to that pregnancy?
wait, hold up, say that again. What was that?
Why is consent not important to you?
I didn't say consent of a fetus to
The
a
pregnant
that's like
person. The pregnant person.
be because it is a possible immediate result of the action that was taken before that.
What does that have to do with anything?
What does that have to do with anything? I'm not it, to you. It might not. Like I said, that's why I'm saying morally, it's an opinion of mine. It's not.
I
It's not that it
understand
has to
that.
do with
You
anything
keep saying
like I
that
told
like it doesn't like you don't have any kind of obligation to provide reasoning or logic behind your opinion.
I'm saying
I
is like
know
I
this is
told
your
you.
opinion, and I think that obviously your opinion doesn't have a lot of foundation because when I put a little bit of pressure on it by asking questions, you don't have answers. So again, why do I not have the right to your body, but a fetus has the right to my body?
I I think that's irrelevant to pro-choice is because
It's
like
really the basis of pro-choice.
are fetuses supposed to like how would a fetus get consent?
people
How does
people
sperm get
there are
consent? How
people
does
who
sperm get
want to
consent
be
to get in your egg
pregnant.
and then how does sperm get a consent and then be able to create that fetus? Like you gave it
I'm not
consent.
saying that the fetus has to ask for consent. I'm saying that when pro-lifers like you say that women should be forced to sustain pregnancy, that you don't care about our willingness or
See,
consent
that's
to
not.
being
See, no, no,
pregnant.
no, no, no. See, nah. Homegirl, you're taking my words out of context. I started my
No, I'm not.
conversation with that there are literal certain aspects. There's certain things that I don't consider, right? That you should have to go through with it. I'm saying personally, I think that morally, it's morally, my opinion is it's
Should
justified as murder.
abortion be
But I'm
legal?
not going to say that that somebody that was raped should have
Should
to go through. That's
abortion
a
be
totally.
legal?
Should abortion be legal?
Yes.
I mean, I no, I me
Okay,
personally,
so
I
this is
don't
a
believe
legal
that
argument. So
abortion
this is a
should be
legal
legal.
argument. Great. So, number one, there's no way that you can legislate that people who have been assaulted have access to abortions and people who have not are denied. You recognize that, correct?
Sure.
So, would you rather make abortion accessible to anybody, or would you rather deny assault victims abortions?
See, that's like saying, would I deny healthcare to anybody? Like, no, I'm not. You shouldn't be denied anything.
You
I'm
just
not.
said
That's not.
abortion should be illegal, so you do want to deny people health care.
I'm saying that life shouldn't be rejected or ejected or subject to whatever people think should be the, like, just because, like, if somebody gets pregnant, they don't like it, now they could just remove life, like, like,
Yeah,
that just
yeah. If
doesn't
someone
sound
does
right
not
to me.
want to be pregnant, they should have the option to not be pregnant.
If somebody doesn't want to be pregnant, they also have the option to not to not put themselves in a position to be pregnant. That's the whole thing, is that
Okay,
it's
wait,
so
wait. So
easy
now
it's so
I
easy
feel
for
you don't
somebody to
really
say
like
that.
know your argument here. Like, first it's immoral because it is murder, but now it is immoral because it's your fault. So I feel you kind of keep going back and forth. Now, I do want to tell you, if are you preaching abstinence?
I'm not preaching abstinence. I'm saying that
You're saying
because
that if you don't want to get pregnant, you should just be abstinent, correct?
no, because we talked earlier in our conversation that you were trying to give me a statistic on, failed contraception. I said that there was different types of things such as contraception, abstinence. There are different things that you could do to
Correct. And
make
I
sure
told
that
you
you
that
don't.
that 51% of people. So if someone was using contraceptives, would you think abortion is permissible?
Miss, like I said,
Say
I
yes or no.
more morally, I said I
That's a
believe
yes
that
or
that's my
no. If
opinion.
someone was using contraceptives during intercourse and they became pregnant, should they have access to abortion? Yes or no?
I mean, no, I don't think that
Okay,
abortion
then you
should
don't care.
be
Then you don't
legal.
care. I don't know why you're bringing up contraceptives if you don't care if people use them or not. Because if they use them or not, you still don't get an abortion. So, again, are you preaching abstinence?
I was just saying that it's an option. People don't want to become pregnant, but they don't
I'm
want to have
aware that
they
it
don't,
is
they
an
don't want to
option.
start
I think
having
most
sex.
people are. The interesting thing I find with this is that when people preach abstinence, they don't really recognize that that actually increases abortions.
How does abstinence increase abortions when you're not putting life into the equation?
Preaching abstinence increases abortions.
How
Because
is
if we
that?
look at like abstinence only education, specifically in the Bible belts, they just tell people don't have sex. They actually don't give them any instructions on how to prevent sex, or excuse me, prevent unwanted pregnancy, as well as contraceptives, which results in teenage pregnancies and unwanted pregnancies. We can see
If
that the Bible Belt,
abstinence
who does
is
abstinence only education, has higher rates of teen pregnancy and therefore teen abortion.
How can
So, while
abstinence,
in
which is the
theory, abstinence sounds like a great solution, in practice, it does not work because people want to experience emotional intimacy, they want to experience pleasure, they want to experience connection, so on and so forth.
okay, so if
If you and I want to get on the same page of reducing abortion, which I think is fine, if we want to reduce abortion, great. We can do so by comprehensive sex education. We can do so by government-funded, long-acting reversible contraceptives such as IUDs, which Colorado did and actually saw a great success rate with. We can also do universal basic income, subsidized daycare, paid parental leave. There's a lot that we can do. What I am against is banning abortion because that only subjugates and oppresses people with a capacity for pregnancy and increases maternal and infant
okay,
mortality rate.
so then why aren't you more like an advocate for like hysterectomies and stuff like that? Why don't women just remove their uteruses if they don't want to become pregnant?
I would actually be more of an advocate for vasectomies.
Why vasectomies?
Because vasectomies are less invasive surgery. It is essentially an inpatient or an outpatient procedure where you just go into your doctor's office, you leave same day, where hysterectomies are very invasive, have long recovery. And if we look at
But
men
I'm
in
saying if
general,
the women
one
that
second,
didn't want to get pregnant, if
one
they had
second.
more,
Wait, I'm not done. You asked me a question. They also can be reversed, which a hysterectomy cannot. And then if we look at men in general, men can get an infinite a number of women pregnant, where a woman, at most, if she had single infant pregnancies, could have 2 a year. If she really, well, technically 1 a year. So yeah, I would put that on men because they are the higher risk.
because they are the higher risk, but men aren't the one getting pregnant, and
No, they're the
men
one
are
getting people pregnant.
right. That's what I'm saying. So why is it on the if why is it on the man? If men had vasectomies, where would reproduction come into play?
If women had hysterectomies, where would reproduction come into play?
But y'all are the ones that are talking about pro-choice. It's my body. It's my. Why don't you do stuff with your body? You know
Well,
what I'm
I already
saying? Like,
see
why don't you
I
prevent?
just think women
Why
should
don't
have
women
access to
before
abortion.
before hold on, hold on. Let me ask this question before abortion, before sex? Why don't women go more into themselves and their anatomy and prevent themselves from being able to get pregnant before even the act happens?
Well,
Why
I
is it
would
on men?
you asked me a question. I would argue number one, they do, because a majority of birth control is for women. And number two, I could ask you the same thing with men.
But we're
Why
not
are
out
men
here. We're
so
not out here not
reckless?
wanting to get pregnant. We're
Why
not
are
out
men
here wanting.
so reckless and they just leave their biological material wherever they want without a care in the world? Like, get it together.
Probably because body count doesn't matter. Like, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where you could throw
Well,
it
I
up in
think you
the
should
air.
really hold men accountable for their actions. I mean, they're just like, keep your biological material to yourself, sir. In fact, I think men should stop orgasming during sex. That would solve a lot of unwanted pregnancy.
And that's why I said is that I so like I said, my moral opinions just come from like, my standpoints on life. Obviously a lot of them have to do with like religion and stuff. So
Well, I think they come from ignorance.
God says be fruitful and multiply, right? That's your personal opinion of me. That's not neither here
God
nor
also,
there.
like, the Bible also justifies slavery,
That's
incest, and
that's that's
abortion.
that's all in the Old Testament, which we don't go by. People could bring that up, but I don't believe in any of that stuff. So like I said,
Still the word of God.
God said G- God says be fruitful and multiply. So like I said, if men, which are the sperm holders, which are the life carriers pretty much before y'all actually carry life
The
and
life
make it
carriers, God.
we are the life, we hold life, right? We're the ones that choose the gender. We're the ones that, like, the sperm is the one that
You
creates the
don't
life, right?
choose the gender.
Males don't choose the gender.
Males determine gender. They don't choose gender.
Oh, okay. Choose, determine. Sorry, I guess those are two
And
definitionally
sperm
like.
is constantly regenerating. If anything, like, it's so funny that like women are literally the life carriers and you're over here claiming that you are. Like, that laughable.
Without my sperm, can an egg become a baby or a fetus?
I actually think there has been technology where they've
Nah,
taken
see,
female
you're
bone
not.
marrow and they have
Oh my.
implanted it into an egg and created a fetus. Yeah.
You're talking still about implantation. You're talking about inserting, and that still goes
That
with
what
the.
what do you think? What do you think intercourse is?
That's why I'm asking you, Miss. Is that
And I've
if
answered your
nobody
question.
if nobody inserts anything into your eggs, into female eggs, can that
What
person
point do you
become
have?
pregnant?
Right. So great. I'm glad we agree on that. So it's all men's fault. Abortion and unwanted pregnancy is men's fault.
No, life and
Yeah,
reproduction is
we
men's
don't
fault.
just get pregnant on our own. You just conceded that.
And that's why I said it's
So it's
y'all's
men's fault.
responsibility though. It's y'all's
Why
responsibility.
why
If
is it
women
our responsibility? Why isn't it
because
your responsibility to keep your biological material to yourself?
because because
Why don't you try
that is
experiencing sex
y'all
as a woman and not having an orgasm for a change?
because that's y'all's moral premise is that it comes to a point where you can choose to have sex, but then you don't want to have anything to do with the possible consequences of said act, which is
I
possibly
would argue
becoming
men
pregnant.
take that on a lot more because men are more likely to like abandon their children and be absent.
I mean, we could talk about like fatherless homes, which like has a lot to do with like women and the government and like systemic problems and stuff. It doesn't really have to do with like a guy becomes a dad and now he's just gone. That is a case, but that's not the case. Um, I'm saying that if you know what I'm saying? Like your car accident thing earlier. If you know that something can happen to you, but then you do it, are you not at fault for any possible results that follow after? Are you just supposed to be justified and then
Okay,
somebody else
let
is
me
supposed
answer
to
that
fix
question. Let me answer that question for you. Um, would you say that in college there's a lot of date rape?
it? I mean, I'm not I can't say that I know that, so I don't know.
Just your own opinion. Would you say that in college that you are more likely to be the victim of rape?
I'm gonna say like maybe in a bar you're more sister. I don't know about
Okay, well,
college. I
let's make the
haven't
analogy a
I
bar
don't
then.
know.
Let's make the analogy a bar.
Even if let's just say
So if
yes.
I,
Let's
one
just say yes
second,
for your
wait,
argument.
one second. Let's make the analogy a bar. That's fine. I have no problem doing that. If I go to a bar and I know there is a chance that a man is there and they could date rape me, is it my fault if I get date raped?
No. Is it your fault that you went to the bar? Yes. Is it your fault that
Then your whole
you
premise falls apart.
what do you mean?
You just said if there is a foreseeable risk to an action, that outcome is your fault. Just like with sex and pregnancy, because with sex, there is a foreseeable outcome of pregnancy, the fact that you are pregnant is now your fault. So I just put your principle in a different setting. Is the fact that if I go to a bar, there is a foreseeable risk that I could be assaulted. Is it now my fault that I was assaulted? And you said no. So you really don't believe your premise.
Because it's like a kid touching fire. Like if you if you know that fire burns, you know, like if you know that fire burns, that kid don't know, right? So it's the whole thing of like I don't know what's gonna happen to me if I do sex or I perform sex, right? So kids will just go into it not knowing whatever, you know. Okay,
Wait,
once you know,
do you concede now that your logic just failed? That you actually do not hold the same principles in different scenarios?
I told you that earlier. I said that there are certain scenarios
Great.
where I
Great.
do
Then there's a contradiction.
um that's because like I said, my moral opinion falls within certain parameters, but
Right, it's contradictory.
I'm not gonna use it as an overall premise to accept abortion. I'm just not. I will
You do.
accept
That's my whole
I
point.
will
Is
accept
that
a grape I will accept a grape victim that has gone through trauma and does it and now
so?
has
Tell me, why do women only have the authority to choose what happens to their body if they have been assaulted or if they are dying?
because you are in a relationship, you are performing things knowingly and subconsciously that universally everyone knows or should know the results of said acts. If you get in
Oh
the
my
car, you can't.
God. No brain cells whatsoever. Oh my God. Like, I can't believe I tolerated that long. Um, am I rude to people that want to subjugate and oppress others? Yeah, for sure.
Moral action, 100. I actually think I'm a lot nicer than most in these atmospheres. Yeah, W.
I'm so fucking cute, bitch.